Hello, my witchy friends. It's Victory Witch ASMR, and I hope you're ready for a relaxing flip through of one of my favorite witchy magazines. This is, of course, I've shown this magazine in the past. I think it actually was a previous winter issue, but I love the owner and editor of this magazine. She is so kind. She sent me a winter issue last year, and now I'm just subscribed. I purchased a subscription because I love this magazine so very much, and I think it's really soothing and relaxing and fascinating for ASMR. So today we will go through the magazine. It's quite thick. There's a lot of articles in it, and really, really beautiful art. I mean, you can tell just from the size of the spine that this is a pretty thick tome. So make a cup of tea and settle in. I'm so excited to share this magazine with you. But if you're new here, please do subscribe and join the coven. We're a very welcoming and friendly bunch. And consider supporting my work, as so many of you do now, on Patreon. I upload dozens of ad-free videos, audios, and blog posts. And we've really created a welcoming and comfortable community on the platform. As many of you know, this is the best way to support my work and to get to know me a little bit better. So, thank you so much to those that are already my faithful and loyal patrons. And I hope to see you all there soon. So, as it says here, and I have my faithful little pointer with me today. There's spells, crystals, tarot, and horoscopes. And there's so much more than that. I've actually found that the history in this magazine is unbelievable. The articles are always really fascinating and fact checked. So if you were in the market for a new magazine, I highly recommend Witches Magazine. I'm going to try my best to not set the corner of the magazine on fire with my candle. So let's start by just looking at this first page. So as you can see, they give the copyright and publishing information for the magazine in this first fold out, the featured writers, the photography, and the artwork. And there's this beautiful scene here that shows you a horizon with some stars. The paper quality of Witches Magazine is mind-blowing. Yeah, this is an extremely well-made magazine and it always blows me away. So I have this picture of a very witchy person and the editor's letter. I always love reading these, so we're going to take a look. Dear witches, wanderers, and wild ones. It's winter time again. Where did the last year go? It's a time for snuggling by the fire, donned in a cozy jumper. Did I mention that this magazine is British? With a mug of your favorite brew. Once the celebrations of Yule, Christmas, and New Year are complete, it's a time for hibernation, rest, and for more letting go. But it's also a time to reflect on the past year and the life lessons you have learned. In 2024, we've had 3 weddings, the birth of a beautiful baby girl, and a purchase of a first home, all from within our Witches Contributor community. Events that have brought me immense joy. On the flip side, I sadly lost one of my best friends, the kind of guy who would light up the room with his big radiant smile, so generous of his time and his loving heart. But one thing that has given me strength through the low times is this community and the friendships I have forged with so many of you. One coined the phrase witchhood, which feels so fitting for our wonderful Witches Magazine community, open to anyone who wants to join us. Thank you to you all for your friendship, kindness, and support over the years. And there's some wisdoms here, some kind of resolutions. And it says, as always, we have brought you an array of winter goodness to help you in this quest. We are blessed with new writers, artists, photographers, and are delighted to welcome back our regular favorites. We are, check out all things witchy and wonderful in our Witches Notice board. So sit back, relax in front of your fire, and immerse yourself in this latest edition. And you really should, if you're not going to subscribe to them. I'll put links in the bio. But at least follow them on Instagram at Witches Magazine. Okay. So we have the contents for winter 2025. So there's all sorts of different things. Spells of the season, crystals, self, nature, culture, back to basics, oracle. These oracle readings are so cool because they often feature like newer decks, like with full-size color prints of them. Tarot, also really fun because you pick a numbered card and then it has like something ascribed to it. Poetry and arts, often really good. Horoscopes and food for the soul. And let me tell you, the recipes in this magazine are always top notch. So I'm excited to see what's in here. Okay, so the first article is called Spells of the Season, Home Protection Ritual. This is by Luca Volpe, and it's really cool. All of the contributors have like their handle in here, so you can like go and find them if you want. The ritual I want to present to you today is very simple to perform, but very effective. Our homes can often be subject to holding on to negative energies. Therefore, It is important to know how to create an energy shield that blocks them out. First, you need to get, if possible, a raw black obsidian crystal. This type of crystal can be used to protect against negative energies. I have discovered that using raw crystals is also far more powerful. Start by holding it in your cupped hands and ask the crystal in your own words to protect your home and the people inside. Imagine a golden light starting to spin around the crystal until the light enters inside it, pulsating the crystal with energy. When you feel the crystal has absorbed this light, set it aside for a moment. Take a sprig of rosemary, powerful stuff, and as you did for the crystal, hold it in your cupped hands. This time, imagine a white light starting to spin around it that is directly being absorbed by the rosemary itself. Ask the spirit of nature to protect your home and the people inside from any natural disastrous events. Now, take both the rosemary sprig and the crystal and place them inside a small velvet bag, preferably blue in color, and hang it behind the entry door of your home. From this moment on, both your house and the people inside it will be protected from all negative energies. A simple and highly effective ritual. I love this magazine because it gives you lots of great ideas. Even if you don't do the things that they suggest, verbatim, it gives me a lot of wonderful things that I could, take inspiration from in my practice. Okay, this is an article by Omi Cook called Season of the Crone. And there's this beautiful image here, an oval shape of this older lady and some animals surrounding her, an owl at the top. And this article says, forget pumpkin spice and all things nice. We are in Crone energy, my little witchlings. And what a powerful time for magic it is. When we think of the dark, we think of reflection, going inward, hibernating and slowing down. While these things are true for the season, it's also a very powerful time for magic. The ominous veil that cloaks the season of winter is something to explore rather than to shy away from. Crone energy appears towards the end of October when the mother succumbs to her grief for the king who died at Lammas. She rises from the underworld as the crone in Samhain, reigning over the dark until the birth of the sun at Imbolc. She is regent of her realm, facing mortal and beast, descending and navigating the dark, moving freely through the shadows and barren landscapes of winter. And it talks about dark energy, how it's silent and hidden, sleeping beneath the surface, yet powerful, like its counterpart in summer. There's an abundance of untapped dark magic waiting for us to descend and claim it. So how do we tap into Crone energy? How do we draw it in and uncover its wonders? We begin with the archetype of the crone, channeling her as we would when we draw down the moon. We create a ritual dedicated to her favored season. And so there's a step-by-step process of how you can draw down the crone, which is kind of fun and interesting. Of course, they give you lots of different other deities, crone deities that you can draw from. My preference is always Baba Yaga because I'm Slavic. But yeah, there's just step-by-step instructions here. And it even gives you Some things that you can state. This is a shadow self mirror spell, so for shadow work. To gaze into your shadow self and see what's hidden, you'll need these things. And a self divination spread as well. And there's this beautiful image of two owls kind of like swirled together. Okay, so this is by Jenny Bell, and it's called Letting Hecate Guide the Way, a spell for dark winter days. Winter is such a wonderful time to rest, reflect, and dream. We go into the darkness to be reborn stronger in the spring. But sometimes we can get lost in the reveries. We may get stuck in our heads and need clarity of thinking. Or we may find ourselves unsure which direction to take come the new year. In times of darkness, we need Hecate with her lovely lamp to guide our way. For this spell, you'll need an offering for Hecate, a piece of clear quartz, a white candle, or 3. Offering ideas include mugwort, lavender, yarrow, basil, rosemary, culinary sage, moonstone, pyrite, a found key, or a symbol of the moon. This spell is best performed at night because Hecate is the goddess of the night. Cast a circle, gather your items, hold your clear quartz to your heart, and say. And then there's this lovely incantation. And then you can ask for clarity on a situation. Leave an offering. You can do a card reading. And then that is the spell. So again, just like really great ideas for the winter months. And this article is about the rocky road to finding your purpose. And this is more of like a crystal focused article. Kind of talks about the crystal, like different crystals and how you might connect them to your own self journey. And then there's this beautiful spread here of this deer. Beautiful antlers, very prominent antlers, in what looks to be like a bunch of like brush, but they're kind of situated in the middle of the brush. Something that I really love about this magazine is some of the full color images. And some more, this is the self section, so you get a little bit of witchy inspirational things like this article, A Channeled Message for Winter by Andrea Ramirez. Navigating life seasons, embrace your new path. So you get some advice for that. And there's this beautiful hoarfrost. Gosh, I love hoarfrost so much. Where I'm from, it happens a lot of the time, and it's just absolutely magical. Okay. Preparing the seeds of winter. This is by Lisa Saylor Gentry. We think of seeds during the springtime when new growth sprouts all around us. Yet the journey of the seed begins with death, the death of that which lived before, to both make room for new growth and to prepare the dormant seed and protect it until it is time for life to spring anew. As we approach the winter time, consider preparing your seeds now rather than holding back for the dawning of new life in the spring. If you've ever prepared a garden or have lived on an agricultural farm, you may understand what I mean. The preparation of what we will harness to bring in the new begins with the harvest of that which we worked so hard to manifest. Yet the important period of the dormancy of the seed is often forgotten. Winter is often shown as devoid of life. I would challenge you to think of winter this year in another way. Think now of what you would create in the new year, and use this period of dormancy to let that hoped for eventuality rest before the coming work of manifestation is upon you. So we have some kind of tips and tricks for keeping your sights set on the horizon during the darkness of winter. Some tips for dream work, journaling, creativity, collecting physical seeds of like plants that you want to like put in the ground. And then there's this quote from William Wordsworth: "Your mind is a garden, your thoughts are the seeds. The harvest can either be flowers or weeds. Choose the flowers you want to see bloom and reach for them by writing a work of fiction in which your dreams come true." And again, the artwork is unbelievable. One of my favorite things about Witches Magazine. So there's this beautiful image of a tree like branching up and outwards. There's a little owl looking down at this feminine figure, a rabbit leaping this way, a elk or moose or deer, I'm not entirely sure. But as you can see, there's like often a theme, depending on the season, that they really like embrace in each issue. So you get articles that focus on Yule, on Imbolc, on like the passing between the seasons. So like from October all the way into Imbolc on February 1st. There's also personal essays in the self section. So this one by Christina Ripple is about their own journey to the occult, paganism, and spirituality. And there's this beautiful illustration here, Grandmother Moon by Jessie Dixon. Absolutely beautiful. I love all of the moths that are on here and the star and moon jewelry. So beautiful. I often discover like artists through this magazine. I love it so much. Okay. There's this article here, Winter Tide and the Inner Flame. This is by Raven Digitalis. I'll read a little bit from this article. Witches revel in the relative quietude of winter, seeing it as a time to go within, to slow down a bit, and to partake in the deep inner work that helps to make us feel more whole all year long. We witness the sun's rebirth at Yule, knowing the experience has been mythologized in various cultures throughout millennia. We remember those who have gone before us, and we connect with the gods and spirits of the season, especially when the light begins to gestate at Imbolc. The time between Yule and Imbolc is similar in darkness to the time between Samhain and Yule. This dark quarter of the year, as mystical as it is, can give rise to depression if we're prone to it, and can at times seem like an endless endurance. The light always comes back around in the same way that lunar cycle fluctuates, and every 24 hours has its wax and wane of solar illumination. So you can see the articles are really well written. I find myself often savoring them in the bath or over my morning cup of coffee. Winter's sense of solemnity can become overwhelming if we don't keep that inner fire stoked throughout the season. When we find ourselves in winter's terrain, solitary activities like meditation, reading, and artistic creativity are very much on our side. Just the same, if we want to keep the inner fire stoked, we should reach out to friends and family members, including pets, even if it's long distance. This can stave off loneliness and allow us to support one another when energies are generally more calm. And this is very true. As a general rule, our bodies and minds do in fact need more rest and relaxation at this time of year. Hot baths, hot showers, and enjoying natural hot springs also serve to keep the inner flames stoked. These activities combine the fire and water elements, whereas fire is concerned with ambition, aspiration, and regeneration. Water's properties encompass empathy, emotion, and the process of change. When in conjunction, we can tap into spiritual invigoration and emotional healing simultaneously. Okay, what else here? Wintertime is ideal for exploring coffees, teas, and exotic warm drinks. Very true. We want to consume more calories, foods rich in proteins, gastronomic exploration, keeping the inner flame burning. It's just a really lovely and meditative article. Love it. And this beautiful, just very skinny illustration here. I would love to walk down this pathway with these sweeping tree branches, full moon, beautiful blue sky. It's just so soothing. Okay. A journey into the esoteric. My life as a practitioner of the craft. We're still in the self section here. This is by Jill Spangler. And yeah, this is a bit of a longer, shorter personal excerpt or essay. Okay, this one's by Ashley T. Benham, An Obligation to Practice. Okay, so there's some things: reluctance to use witchcraft, basic practices, grounding, meditation, focus work, practicing basic elemental connection and manipulation, practicing chants. Just remembering to use witchcraft, finding time for practice. I've had to do a lot of that the past couple of months. It's easy to kind of lose yourself a little bit. There's this beautiful image of these mountains and this crystal clear, like blue ice, blue water. I love it. Okay, this essay is by Bree Jamie, From Lakes to Locks, Embracing Magic in Every Landscape. And this author's from Western Sydney, Australia. And they say, my childhood was a symphony of the natural world. Fields stretched endlessly, creeks babbled with life, and the bush seemed to hold secrets in every rustling leaf. My early years were painted with the colors of the land around me, and while I did not yet know it, these landscapes were laying the groundwork for my future spiritual and witchcraft practice. Ooh, okay, an article on Yule solstice and celebrations. And there's this image. It says, Yule, rejoice the return of the Sun King. Drink and feast under the evergreens. Winter witches, Yule, solstice, and celebrations. This is by Lisa LeMonica. Yule happens on the winter solstice, December 21st, the shortest day and longest night of the year. But the shortest day needn't worry anyone, since longer days are always on the way. In her book, Drawing Down the Moon, which I have right next to me right now, Margot Adler quotes Frederick Adams, Yule is when the sun starts north again, thus promising that spring will follow the long cold rest period of winter. Yule celebrations are thousands of years old, having been borrowed by other belief systems and incorporated into their holidays. In the 9th century, we know that the terms Yule and Yuletide season had become synonymous with Christmas. Yule was a time of fire and feasting, with festivals in ancient times. In modern times, a Yule log cake is used in festivities meant to portray ancient Yule logs that were kept burning during the old festivals. A Yule log can be burned in the home's fireplace. Some people have festival Yule logs or festive Yule logs with wintergreens adorning their holiday tables as a centerpiece. For now, winter is a time to retreat inward to ourselves and into our homes, decorate using evergreens, and celebrate what this season has to offer. Festivities for Christmas time also start to ramp up. Rosemary, which resembles our Christmas trees and is heavy with pine scent, is wonderful to cook with atop of roasts like turkey, chicken, and duck, also going well with fish dishes. Folklore tells us that people used to plant rosemary near their front doors, as it was believed that a witch couldn't enter a dwelling unless she could count all of the rosemary's leaves. That's a really fun bit of folklore. Winter witches figure prominently in folklore. When it snows, okay, all sorts of really interesting folklore. Oh, I heard about this article. This is really cool. So this one is called Art Within Nature by Lucy Tipper. And they're at Tangled Muses on Instagram. And Lucy is a botanical contact print artist. So it says, as a botanical contact print artist, my work is a whispered conversation with the wild earth, a tapestry woven from ceremony, deep listening, and the language of plants. I gather plant materials with reverence, foraging gently from the wild landscapes. These offerings are then transformed through a dye process, becoming the very essence of my images. I then intuit the stories that the landscape has left on my paper. Using natural earth pigments, these images emerge through time spent in quiet listening and ceremony. This is the starting point for everything I create and paint, a connection to the wild. In the wild, I shed my humanness, allowing myself to dissolve into the landscape. Without judgment or expectation, I become a receptive vessel to her stories. Returning to the same places over time deepens my connection, and the land unfurls, revealing her secrets in layers. And so you can see with some of the incredible artwork that Lucy makes with, botanical elements that are dyed, brewed, transformed for the sake of gorgeous art. Okay, this article from Becky Brown gives us a seasonal lesson from the bees. And it talks about the hives, going to see the hives, making a honey cake. Bees are really incredible, and honey is one of the greatest gifts that they give us. Okay, there's this article by Nim on foraging. And this is specific to the UK. A lot of these writers are from the UK. As it says here, let's see. In the UK, foraging is generally allowed on public land, but there are restrictions in certain areas, such as nature reserves and protected sites. The Wildlife and Countryside Act 1981 protects many plants and habitats. So it's essential to familiarize yourself with this legislation and always seek permission before foraging on private land. And then there's your usual rules. Take only what you need. Leave no trace and respect wildlife. And forage for items that are in season to ensure they are at their peak potency and to avoid disrupting their natural growth cycles. And this article is all about what can be foraged during the winter months, which is really fun. So rose hips, nettles, pine cones, holly and ivy, feathers, fossils, driftwood. A little incantation for giving thanks, some tools you could use for foraging, and so on. Ooh, A Beginner's Guide to Coffee Reading by Livian Bonato Morris. I've never tried this, but I really love this. I'm going to try this tomorrow morning. So there's like a whole process here and then a kind of like key that walks you through some of the possible meanings for what you see: straight lines, wavy lines, triangles, hearts, stars, crosses, birds, snakes. I'd really love to do a tea leaf reading video for you all at some point. I will. But I think it would be really fun. I made orange slice decorations. I do every year. They're one of my favorite, very festive ways to decorate my tree, except I make them in a garland. I should really use green thread, though. I will do that next time. And my orange slices never come out looking this vibrant, unless this is an edited photo. But, like, it's really hard to get them to keep their vibrancy. It's true, though. It says, when hung in front of your tree lights, the oranges will glow like stained glass. So true. We have an interview. Embracing the dark half of winter. Talks about some of the historical places that are linked to that darkness. Witches of Viking times. See, you get some excellent history lessons. Some lessons on folklore and magic. The animals specifically that are connected. So the polar bear, the wolf, the lynx, and the caribou. And some spells that might connect you to animal magic and folklore. And yeah, just like so many different things. Some more stuff on deities. I love this image. Wow, the veil and the crow or raven in flight. So this is the culture section, and you end up with a lot of historical stuff in the culture section. Oh, I love this image with the mirror. You probably can barely see that, but looking in the mirror there. Okay, this is what I was talking about. Sometimes they feature like decks of cards. And so there's this Witch's Wisdom Oracle card set. And they are showing you, if we flip the page here, some of the cards that come in this set. So we have the Hearth card, which represents homecoming. The hearth flame burns brightly, a symbol of protection and the nurturing warmth of home. You're being reminded of the sacred space you create, not only within your home, but within your heart. This card calls you to cultivate peace, love, and harmony in your life. Tend to your inner fire and let its warmth spread to all those around you. There's a Yule card, which symbolizes rebirth, a wand card, which symbolizes intention, and broomstick, which symbolizes clearance. Of course, a symbol of clearing and banishment. But I just love how they use the whole space of the page to really display the artwork. I just love that. It's really neat. And you have a healing tea. You can make it with orange peel, ginger, cinnamon, vanilla, green tea, and hibiscus. You can mix and match as you like or enjoy each individually. Frankincense water, a calming oil, which you can put lavender, jasmine, patchouli, and mandarin in. I've made a mix that's very similar to that. I love jasmine essential oil combined with mandarin. That's like a really underrated combo. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is so cool. I love this. Rockpool is, of course, the publisher that publishes the Seasons of the Witch Oracle, which I'm currently in the process of collecting all of those. There's one for each Sabbath, so it's like Pokemon. You have to like collect them all. It's so silly, but I love it so much. So they recommend here that you breathe, count to 5, allow your mind to fill with your question. Don't just ask yourself, ask the universe. You're in no rush. When you're ready, pick a card. Which number calls out to you? Which do you think calls to your current situation? Turn the page to discover which card is yours. Okay, I'm feeling 3. So let's see. Card 3 is Justice. Okay. The Justice card isn't just about the bad eggs getting their comeuppance, and if this meaning resonates with you, you won't have to wait much longer for justice to be served. It is also about a deeper need for balance, harmony, and above all, honesty. If your inner and outer self are following opposing paths, then it grates on your soul and affects your well-being. The bigger the disparity, the more discomfort it causes us. Deep inside, you might know that something is off kilter. You may have been burning the midnight oil, or perhaps you've been relying too heavily on that extra glass of wine before bed. This is the sign that it's time to start addressing that disharmony between your behavior and what your soul needs to feel at peace. Truth is the key here, but that doesn't mean you have permission to beat yourself up. Treat yourself with compassion, and if you need to seek help in order to balance your scales, do. So I always find these little tarot spread readings are so great, and that did resonate with me actually, so I'm pretty happy about that. This section is poetry and arts. So we have Jill Spangler here, Charged by Darkness. A couple of other poems, as well as this beautiful artwork of Aquarius here and some horoscopes. I love checking out horoscopes. I have for many years here at Aquarius. The last 18 months have connected you to your inner wisdom by exploring many different fields of knowledge. Your truth has come together more clearly now with the nodal shift happening on January 11th in your second house. The cosmos encourages a shift away from materialism and towards valuing spiritual and emotional abundance. This transit teaches you to trust the flow of life when it comes to money and resources. You may find that by releasing attachment to financial security, you invite greater peace and prosperity into your life. Focus on spiritual wealth over material gain. Your needs will be met. New beginnings are on the horizon, initiated by the new moon on January 29th. Okay, so the recipes. I took a little peek and I saw this recipe for cottage pie, and I was like, I turned to my partner and was like, we need to make this recipe for cottage pie. This looks so good. I love cottage pie, but like something about maybe the way that this is photographed, I don't know. Oh, it looks so good. I miss the UK so much, like every day. So much hearty, delicious food there. And there's also a recipe here for winter pudding. So between these two recipes, I'm like, oh, I would love more recipes in Witchy Magazine because I use them all the time. They're so great. They're amazing. So I'm going to be making winter pudding too. I don't think I've ever had winter pudding, but this looks incredible. So, and this is the last page here, and they even print onto the like back sheet of the magazine covers. And there's this gorgeous illustration of a bear. I absolutely love the kind of pencil drawing quality to them. So beautiful. So that, my friends, is Witches Magazine. I am probably going to go through this again when I'm in the bath, maybe tomorrow, and spend a little more time on some of the articles because they deserve all of the time. But thank you so much for being here, for being patient with me. I know my uploads have been a little bit inconsistent all over the place. Life gets kind of busy. I got a new job recently, very recently. That's been a real treat. And so, yeah, but I'm still here. I'm still making videos. I still adore you all so very much, and I'm so happy to those of you that have stuck around. But I hope that you enjoyed reading Witches Magazine with me, and I hope that you have a very restful and peaceful sleep, and I'll see you again very soon.